Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Algebra 2 Honors Algebra 2 class. I'm going to go over completing the square for vertex form and also to solve. So, alright, let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at our warm-up. You got 3x squared plus 13x equals negative 4 in this warm-up. I want you guys to find me the y-intercept, okay? And also your axis of symmetry. And that formula, if you will recall, is negative b over 2a. Oh, I am so sorry. My paper was not in order. There you go. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to copy that down, please. Oh, excuse me. Oh, here we go. That's better. All right. Now, to find your axis of symmetry, you're going to put this in standard form, so you need to add 4 to both sides. So now you have 3x squared plus 13x plus 4 is equal to 0. Okay? Your axis of symmetry is going to be negative b over 2a. So we're going to have x equal. This is your a, this is your b, this is your c. So we're going to take negative 13, my b is 13, over 2 times a, which is 2 times 3. So x is negative 13 over 6. And I can't simplify that anymore. That is your axis of symmetry. So if you had a graph, here's my graph, here's my x is at negative 13 over 6. So that axis of symmetry is right here, where that x value is negative 13 over 6. By the way, that is also your h. Okay? All right. It looks kind of blurry. Give me just a moment, make it clearer. All right, that's it better. Okay, so also, next thing, you can also use this to plug into the original to find your k. All right, now to find your y-intercept, the y-intercept is always the letter c. So what is c right here? 4. So your y-intercept is 0, 4. That is your y-intercept. Okay. Many things you can tell from this equation, though. From all this, you can tell that your graph's going to open up. So however it is, it's going to open up, just like this. I don't know where the x-intercept is, but I can find it if I were to factor, which we've already done. You can also figure out your vertex. If you plug this back in, you're going to get your k, so you'll have your vertex, and from that you can write your vertex form. All those things that comes into play, and all you did was looking at this equation. All right. But for your warm-up, I just wanted you to be able to find the y-intercept and the axis of symmetry. So there are your two information. Okay, now let's take a look at the next part. You don't need to write every one of these down, but I want to kind of show you the pattern. I'm going to give you the solution and see if you guys kind of notice the pattern. Expand means to write in standard form, and to do that you're going to multiply. This is the same thing at x minus 3 times x minus 3. Okay? All right, so here we go. If I were to expand, this would be x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay? This one would be x squared plus 10x plus 25. Notice no equal sign, so you're not solving. X squared plus 24x plus 144. Are you guys starting to see a pattern taking place? X squared minus 18x plus 81. X squared plus 16x plus 64. All right, let's see what pattern. Take a moment and see if you see a pattern. What I notice is that you're squaring the x right here. You get x squared, and you're squaring the 3, which gets 9. But how are you able to get the middle term? Well, you just there's a 1 right here, so 3 times 1 is 3, and you double. See that? There's a 1 here. 5 times 1 is 5, and then you double. See how you're multiplying it times 2? Okay. Just like that. 12 times 1 is 12 times 2. Are you starting to see it? So every one of these you've got 2 times, and then this one you square, and this one you have plus 12 squared. Okay? So notice the pattern. Let's look at this one. X squared, 8 times 1 is 8, plus your 8 squared is 64. See the pattern? All right. So that's what you were doing. So instead of multiplying 2, you can also say double. It's the same thing. Okay. Now, kind of keep that in mind because I'm leading that into completing the square. Okay? All right, now let's go backwards. See if you guys can figure out a pattern taking place. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start. X minus 4, x plus 6 squared, x plus 7 squared, x minus 15 squared, x minus 10 squared. You guys seeing a pattern of these two? They're equal to each other. Okay? Half of negative 20 is negative 10, and when you square it, you get 100. Notice all the a's here is 1. Half of negative 30 is negative 15. You square it, you get 225. And you're wondering, if it's negative, how is this a square? Well, negative 15 squared is the same as negative 15 times negative 15. The parentheses are very important. If you have written it like this, this is the same as negative. What's being squared is only the 15, which comes out to be negative 225. See the difference in that? Okay. Let me rewrite that. I don't like the way it looks. There we go. Negative 225. Whereas this one is positive 225. Notice the difference in the two. Okay? All right. Well, here is the steps for, we're going to use this to help us do completing the square. Well, here's the steps for completing the square. So we're going to go a little deeper. Okay, there you go. Can you guys see better? Here are your steps. Number 1, you write it the quadratic in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus a blank, and you're going to have a c plus a blank. This becomes a negative, by the way. Okay? If a is not 1, you're going to divide both sides by the a. We are going to do this later. But for what we're doing, all of our a is 1 for now. But toward the end of this lesson, you're going to have it where a is not. Then you're going to take the b term and you're going to divide by 2, and then you're going to square it. Another way you can write that is also you're going to half the b, and then you're going to square. These two are exactly the same thing. This is going to come in handy for you when a is not a 1. Okay? You're going to factor the left side of the equation. So it's going to look like from this to this. It should be a perfect square trinomial. Did you guys see that? We're going to write it as a binomial square. Okay? So far, so good. Next part. You're going to square root both sides of the equation, and then you're going to solve. But right before this, you can also write in vertex form. So I'm going to cover both, knowing that. All right, so if you need to write the methods, please do so right now. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes. All right. Pause if you have to. Okay. Let's go ahead and do one right here. This one, I want you to do it in vertex form. Okay? And if you forgot what a vertex form looks like, it's a equals a minus a parentheses x minus h squared plus your k. Just like that. A equals y equals a parentheses x minus h quantities of square plus your k. And notice the h and the k is your vertex. Okay? That is your vertex. So just keep that in mind. Let me move my things back a little bit so you guys can see better. Okay. Here we go. You guys ready? Okay. My board's ready. All right. in order from highest degree to your lowest, this is in standard form, and it is a quadratic. You cannot complete the square if this is not a quadratic, okay? All right. First of all, you're going to move 11 over, just like that. The c goes on the other side, and since you're moving it across the equal sign, you do the opposite. So now you have x squared plus 10x plus, leave a blank in that spot, equal 0 plus 11 is 11. Now, if I add a blank here, I have to add a blank over here. See that equal sign? That means both these halves has to be equal to each other, okay? All right, you're going to take the b. A is a 1, so you don't need to worry about that part. You're going to half it. Take half of 10. What's half of 10? 5. And you're going to square it. So this becomes 5 squared. What is 5 squared? 25. Because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Okay? Keep this equal the same. So now you have x squared plus 10x plus 25. And I don't want you to, you don't need to write this part. Give me just a moment. Okay. Equals 11 plus 25 is 36. All right. So now this part looks like this. You see how these are perfect squares? Half of 10 is 5, 5 squared is 25. So I'm going to rewrite it in perfect square forms. Basically, you are factoring, okay? And you're going to have 2 of these if you are factoring. But instead of writing it like 2, we're going to write it like 1. Did you guys see that? All right. I want to make it look like this. Do you see how it looks like x minus h right here? But I'm missing a k. There's your k. How am I going to move this over to make it a k? Subtract 36 from both sides. So now you have x plus 5 squared minus 36 is equal to 0. Okay? And here is your vertex form. What is your vertex, by the way? Negative 5, opposite, negative 36, and A is 1. And there you have your vertex form. All right, so on the next one I'm going to skip this part right here, and I'm going to go directly from this to right here, okay? All right, go ahead and write down the next example. All right, step 1. Add 7 to both sides, just like that, okay? This time, I want you to write it in vertex form, okay? Just like we did earlier. So now you have x squared plus 4x plus a blank equals 7 plus a blank. Half of 4 is 2, so 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. I'm going to skip that part, remember? I'm going to factor this out is equal to 11. Subtract 11 from both sides. So x plus 2 squared minus 11 is equal to 0. And there you have your vertex form. And what is your vertex, by the way? Negative 2, negative 11. Okay? There you have that part. All right, and that's how you do the vertex form, by completing the square. All right, now we're going to use completing the square, but instead of vertex form, we're going to use it to solve. So watch what I do, okay? It says write in vertex form using CTS. I'm actually going to mark that off, and I want you to solve, okay? Here we go. Ready? Same thing. Add 9 to both sides. So x squared plus 18x plus a blank is equal to 9 plus a blank. Just like that. Half of 18 is 9. And 9 squared is 81. Okay? Now I'm going to rewrite this in factor form. So x plus 9 squared is equal to, what's 9 plus 81. That is 90. Now, to write in vertex form, you would move this over, right? But what are we doing here? We are solving. So watch what I do, okay? This whole thing is being square. So how do you get rid of a square? You're going to take a square root. And when you square root something, you have two solutions, okay? That goes away. So now you have x plus 9 is equal to plus or minus square root of 90. All right, so far so good? Okay, now how do I get rid of that 9? Subtract 9, subtract 9. Notice it's not under the square root, okay? So x is equal to, I'm going to write this one first. I'm going to reverse these two. So I'm going to have negative 9 plus or minus square root of 90. Okay. Now, does 90 have any perfect squares? Well, if you don't know, go to your y equal and put 90 divided by x, just like that. And go to your second table, starting where it says the word error. Look through here, 4, no perfect squares. Any perfect squares? 9, yeah, 9 and 10. Did you see that right there? So I'm going to factor that out. So you have negative 9 plus or minus 9 times 10. Okay. 9 is a perfect square of 3. And 10 stays in the house underneath the radical. And there you have your solution. You can't simplify it anymore. Two answers. One of them is plus 3 square root of 10, and the other one is negative 9 minus 3 square root of 10. These two are exactly the same answer as that one. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and try another one. Okay? Right here. You ready? X squared plus 12x plus a blank is equal to negative 41 plus a blank. Half of 12 is 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. Write it in factor form. Negative 41 plus 36 is negative 5. Okay. Take a square root. So x plus 6 is equal to plus or minus square root of negative 5. When you have a negative, it's going to come out as an I, so if you want to do that first, you are more than welcome to, or you can do it later. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. How do I solve for x? You subtract 6 from both sides. So x is equal to, write this one first instead of that, negative 6 plus or minus I square root of 5. And you cannot make that any smaller, so there's your solution. All right. Let's do one more, just to get you guys used to the solving, especially with an I and simplifying square roots, okay? This time we have a minus. So x squared minus 8x plus a blank is equal to negative 36 plus a blank. Half of negative 8 is negative 4 squared. Negative 4 squared is positive 16. Negative negative is 16. Write it in factor form. So negative 36 plus 16 is negative 20. See that right there? Take a square root. So plus or minus square root of negative 20. Okay. Let's simplify this first if you want, or you can go ahead and add 4. Your choice. Okay? I'm going to simplify first. Actually, I'm going to move it over. So 4 becomes a positive 4 plus or minus square root of negative 20. See how it's add 4? Cancel, add 4. Okay. Nothing with that one. 20 is the same as 4 times 5. Has a perfect square. Bring out the I because you got a negative. Square root of 4 is 2 with 5 left over. Write it pretty where this number comes first, okay? All right, 4 plus or minus 2i square root of 5. You always want to write your real number plus your imaginary number, and the constant comes first. This one's your real, this one's your imaginary, right there. Always try to write it in this form, okay? All right. Do we need to do another one? All right. So this one was to solve. Okay, this one was to solve as well. So solve, solve. All right. Let's do another one. Okay, this time let's do it in vertex form. So kind of go back and forth, try to figure out what it is we're asking. Okay, here we go. This time I want to do it in vertex form, and vertex form looks like y equals a x minus h squared plus your k, right there. So solving vertex form. Okay, so you notice it kind of changes about right here. That's where the change is. Here we go. X squared minus 20x plus a blank equals negative 87 plus a blank, because you minus 87 on both sides. Cancel. Okay. Half of negative 20 is negative 10 squared. Negative 10 squared is 100. So x minus 10, factor form, is equal to 13. All right. From here is when you decide, are you solving or are you writing in vertex form? I'm asking you to write it in vertex form, so I want to move 13 over. So x minus 10 squared minus 13. There's your h, there's your k. Set that equal to 0. And there's your vertex form. All right. So from here is where you decide. Are you going to find the solve for it, or are you going to do the vertex form? Solve, you're going to have to do the math. Vertex, you just move it over. Okay. All right, now let's go to 1. All of our a's were 1. Now let's look at our a in this one. Okay, 2x squared plus 12x plus 25 is equal to 0. This is the part I want you to write. You 1/2 b squared, like this. You're going to have some fractions, but it'll be okay. So this first one, I'm going to write it in vertex form. The next one, I'm going to show you guys how to solve. I would actually never use this method to solve, okay, if your a is not a 1, because it's going to get ugly. So if your a is not a 1, I would not use this for a to solve. So let's go ahead and write this in vertex form. All right, first thought, a is not a 1, so you got to get rid of that one. So let's go ahead and divide every one of these by 2. So you factor out a 2. So you got x squared plus 6x plus 25 over 2 is equal to 0. Okay? Give me just a moment. I don't want to do it like that. Let me start again, because this will be wrong. This right here. Okay? So let me start again. Let me cover this up. I don't want to do it that way because I need the numbers to work. All right, here we go. Otherwise, it's going to be confusing for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and start first. Move the 25 over, because that's the first thing you guys do. So you have 2x squared plus 12x plus a blank is equal to negative 25 plus a blank. See that right there? Okay, because you guys are used to that. Let me show you that way. Now, your a is not a 1. Let's get rid of that a. So divide every one of these by 2. Did you guys see that? So now you have x squared plus 6x plus a blank is equal to negative 25 over 2 plus a blank. All right. That way you are more used to this. We're good? Okay. Half of 6 is 3 squared. What is 3 squared? 9. Use your calculators to help you. Write this in factor form. So x plus 3 squared is equal to, okay, ready? Alpha y, number 1. So you have your fraction. Negative 25, right click over 2, right click out of it, plus 9. Math, enter, change it to a fraction, negative 7 over 2. So far so good. Add 7 over 2. So that cancels out. So now you have x plus 3 squared plus 7 over 2 is equal to y. And there you have your vertex form with a vertex of -3, comma, -7 over 2. Okay? But I'll show you one where you can go ahead and solve, just so you guys know it as well. I mean, it's not bad depending on your number. Okay? All right. Do I have another one? Oh, I got 2 more. Okay, that's okay. We can do this one in vertex form also. Okay, let's get more practice. Here's another one. This is also a vertex form. Okay. Add 10, add 10. 3x squared plus 24x plus a blank is equal to 10 plus a blank. Before you start, let's get rid of the a. Okay? Cancels out. So x squared plus 8x plus a blank is equal to 10 over 3 plus a blank. Half of 8 is 4 squared, which is 16. Write it in perfect squares factor form. Let me get rid of that square because that doesn't need to be there. Equals, here we go. Alpha y, number 1, 10 right click 3, plus 16, 58 over 3. Don't be scared of fractions, it's just a number. You subtract it to give you 0. So x plus 4 squared minus 58 over 3 is equal to y or 0, your choice. And your vertex is -4, -58 over 3. And there you go. Oops, sorry. All right, now let's go ahead and write this and solve, okay? Here's your next one. This time we are going to solve, okay? Here we go. Subtract 5. 4x squared minus 22x plus a blank is equal to -5 plus a blank. All right, let's divide all of these into 4. Cancel. X squared minus 11 over 2x plus a blank is equal to -5 over 4 plus a blank. You will get to use a calculator on this, okay? So make it do the work for you. Here we go. You guys ready? All right. You remember how I said instead of b over 2 squared is the same? Have a good weekend. Make good choices.
I'll try.
I'll see you later. 1/2 b squared. Remember how I said those are the same thing? This is why you want to use this one instead of this one. I don't know what 11 over 2/2 is. Okay? So, I'm going to use this one instead. I'm going to say, hey, 1/2 times 11 over 2 squared. Do you see how the 1/2 is? And here's your b. Do you guys see that b? Now I'm going to square it. Okay? All you got to do is multiply it across. 1 times 11 is 11. 2 times 2 is 4. And then you are going to square it. See that? Okay. What you do to one side, you got to do to the other. What is 11 squared? 121. What is 4 squared? 16. See how you just did that? Okay? All right. Like you did in the past, write this in factor form. So now you have x, okay, minus, keep your sign, this should have been negative. 11, doesn't matter, when you square it's always a positive, over 4 square, see how we just did that, equal, see the equal? Okay, alpha y 1, -5, right click the 4, plus alpha y 1, 121, right click to 16. Look just like your paper. Equal 101 over 16. Okay? Oh, we're not going to solve this one. That's crazy. I'm not solving that one. All right. Write it over. Bring it over. So x minus 11 over 4 square Instead of plus, it is now minus 101 divided by 16 is equal to 0. And your vertex is 11 over 4, 101 over 16, negative 101. And there's your vertex. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and do the very last one. See how you guys do, okay? Here we go. Add 10 to both sides. So now you have 3x squared plus 24x plus a blank is equal to 10 plus a blank. Just like that, okay? Divide everything by 3. So x squared plus 8x plus a blank is equal to 10 over 3 plus a blank. I believe that's the same problem as this one right here, and we did it in vertex form, and I'm going to show you how to solve. Okay? So we're going to solve. All right, here we go. Half of 8 is 4 square. 4 square is 16. Write it in factor form. So here we go. Clear? Okay. Alpha y1, 10 divided by 3. Oops, I totally screwed that up. Watch what you're doing. Don't be a Miss Bolinko. Plus 16 comes out to be 58 over 3. So if you were doing this in vertex form, you would just move that over. But that's not what we're doing. What are we doing? We're going to solve. You guys ready? How do I get rid of a square? You take a square root. So plus or minus square root of 58 over 3. Okay? Minus 4 on both sides. See that? So x is equal to, write this one first, negative 4 plus or minus square root of 58 over square root of 3. Okay? Now we're going to focus on this part. We can't have a denominator with a square root. But we don't have a negative either, so we don't have to worry having an I. So we need to rationalize. How do you rationalize? You multiply the numerator and the denominator by 3, just like that. Okay? So x equals negative 4 plus or minus. What is 58 times, that's not times 3, 174. Square root of 174 over 3. All right, so far so good? Okay, let's see if 174 has any perfect squares. Like, can I write it a little differently? So watch what I do. Go to y equal, type in 174 divided by x, second table, starting at 1, see if you see perfect squares. 1, 4, 9, nope. 9, let me see, that was 3, 4, 4 is 16, nope, see how it's not a whole number, 5 is 25, nope, 6 is 36, nope, 7 is 49, nope, 8 times 8 is 64, see I'm just looking at that, nope, 9 squared is 81, okay, you don't have to go any further than that, really. Notice there's none. So your final answer is x equals negative 4 plus or minus square root of 174 divided by 3. There are your two answers. Okay? But always double check. All right. I forgot something. I need to go back and tell you guys something. Okay. If you're solving, you don't need to bring, what you're doing is just fine if you're solving. But I need to go back to completing the square. All right, standard form, here we go. Go back to this real quick because I forgot to add something, okay? When we did up here, do you guys see that right there? We divided by 4. That was our A, right? Look at my vertex form. What did I forgot to bring down with it? I forgot to bring down my 4. So don't forget to bring down your 4 for your A. Everyone see that? So there's your final answer. Okay? I needed to bring that down because I divided out. I got to bring it back in. Let's look at the one right before it. This one as well. You guys see this one? I said write it in what? Vertex form. What did I also forget? I forgot my A, so I need to add that 3. Okay? Because if you don't, when you distribute this out, watch what happens. X plus 4 squared is x squared plus 8x plus 16. Do you see how from my first term is not matching? But if I multiply this whole thing times 3, you now have 3x squared plus 24x, okay? How did I get, yeah, 16. I'm just doing half of it. Plus 48, see that right there? Minus all that. And you're going to get a negative 10. See what I mean? Okay? And if you want me to show you, watch. 48. Okay? Oop, not plus. Minus. Okay. And there you have your 10. So, just kind of keep that in mind. Okay? So don't forget that 3. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.